Hello and welcome back to the channel and another video about the construction of Heaton Lodge Junction Phase 2. Now, on the bad side, I've only got a short video for you today, but on the good side, I have had so much progress done in the last week. I've been down here every day and done tons and tons of stuff, and I can't wait to show you what I've actually achieved. So without further ado, let's crack on, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Okay, so let's have a look at what I have been doing for the last week. And in fact, yes, it is basically 3 6-foot long by 4-foot wide boards that I've completed. And what I'll do first is just go through each, I'll just do you an overview of what I've done on each board, and then we'll just have a look at the individual effects and how I've actually achieved them. And so I'll just show you what I've actually used in terms of products and accessories. So basically, as I've just said, 3 6-foot long boards by 4-foot wide, extension carts that I've used to extend the layout. This is obviously phase 2. And I've just put a class 60 here with some MGRs, but we'll start at this end and just have a look at the coal unloading facility, which is now finished. The car park is now in. There's a few puddles here. And we've just got the building here, the toilet building for the guys that work, or the ladies as well that work inside the MGR unloading facility. And yes, this is all done. The road is now in, everything's infilled between the tracks. The electrics are all in. This bridge here, which we'll talk about more in a minute, is also in. This takes the staff from the coal unloading facility along a short path up and over the bridge and down into the mess room at the other side, or the signing on room. And then we've got the lead up to Healy Mills, and you can just see the concrete bases for the approach to the Healy Mills shed, which is going to go in this gap here. So yeah, we've got the oil tanks, they're all in, they're all wired for electricity to light everything up inside. And yeah, what more can I say? It's all just about finished. I do really like the flowing track, even if I say so myself. I've used a combination of curve points and straight points here just to get that effect. And I could have easily made the track straight, but I just wanted to be a little bit different because it's a bit boring when you've just got tons and tons of straight track. But I hope you like the effect that I've kind of achieved. We're going to start by going through the ballast first, what I've actually used, and then we're going to go through, we're going to start, I think, with the coal unloading facility. I'll take the building off its plinth. It still needs its concrete base, as you can see, which it's going to be standing on, which is just being worked on at the minute. And I'll show you inside the concrete unloading facility first. But I do hope you like the overall effect. The grass, I've used Mini Nature. Again, we'll talk about this more in a minute, with the postiche or the canopy, doll's hair on top to give a bit more lift and a bit more depth to the scenery. But yeah, there we go. Let's just start by having a look at the coal unloading facility first. So let's have a peek from the inside, and this is the view that the engine drivers would have got when they were powering in their 56s or 60s or even later 66s back in the day. And if you just compare it to the real thing, which is just popping up on your screen now. So what we've got the Daleks are all in there, which they were last time we saw this, but the fences in between the Daleks to stop the work people or workmen, workwomen falling into the gaps between the rails. They're there. The walkways are already in both sides now, and it's all wired for electric. So all this is going to be brightly lit when it's all finished. So the lights at the side, these are by West Hill Wagon Works, and I've put those all along the side and also at the other side too. Let's just have a look, pan round without tripping up. As you can see there, we've got the drain pipes, all the little bits and pieces are in. There's some lamps as well, which are going to light the car park. The car park actually is quite easy. I've just used Precision Paints tarmac coloured, or Phoenix Precision Paints tarmac colour, and I've just done the car parking lines just by masking off with masking tape and then just spraying them with a white filler, a white primer paint just out of a rattle can. Dead easy. So the puddles, I've just used, well, I should say before, I've used foam board for the actual base here, and then I've just dug out with a scalpel some holes and filled them with AK Interactive Puddles solution, which just gives a nice effect. They're probably a little bit deep. I don't think the work people would have let the puddles get as deep as they are on here. And then all I've done when I've finished with the painting is just gone over with some weathering powder, some talcum powder, and then just rubbed it all in with a scrubbing brush and a toothbrush. And as you can see, the effect is, well, it's pretty good in my eyes. The grates are all in as well. These are just grates that I got from, I think, Model Scenery Supplies, which I've just painted in a stainless steel colour. Make sure when you put grates in, you always cut round them with a scalpel and just embed them into the tarmac, so to speak, simply because if they're just stuck on top, which I've seen many times, it's not really prototypical. There's another grate there. And then also what I've done, I don't know if you can pick this up, if the camera can pick it up. Yeah, I think it can. I've just used the steel ruler to dig and put a scalpel down a steel ruler, rather, get my words out, and then painted infilled it in a slightly different coloured tarmac. So the original paint, Phoenix Precision Paints, I've just added a bit of brown to, just to get a difference in the shade. So it just looks as though some workmen had dug a trench between the two grates. So there we go. So we'll just pan round a bit further. We've got more grates here by Model Scenery Supplies. They were dotted all over marshalling yards. I noticed that in the past. And most of the other stuff, we'll start with the ballast, as I said earlier, in a second. But most of the other stuff we'll talk about in greater depth in a couple of minutes. But let's just start giving you an overview of the coal and loading facility. This was quite a lot of work just before we come on to the ballast. The Daleks, or the mechanical machines which unlock the doors on the side of the HAA wagons, they were all 3D resin printed, as you know. They're super glued down. And then we've got those loudspeakers or loud hailers, which I think the yard office used to give instructions to the staff in and out of the coal and loading facility. So they're there too. What else is there to talk about on here? Quite a lot, but we'll start with the ballast, as I said before, and yeah, we'll go from there, and I'll take you through each aspect of what I've done to achieve the effect. So let's start with the ballast. Right, so we're back on the other side now. The bit that I've just finished and scenic is over there. This is the ballast that I've used on the main lines from Geoscenics, and I like Geoscenics ballast. I also like the fact that Mike, the proprietor, is a qualified geologist, which I think is really good because the ballast comes in lots of different forms from Geoscenics. It comes in limestone, it comes in granite, there's weathered versions. It goes on really well. It doesn't have any sort of shine onto it when you use 50% water and PVA solution. And it looks really good. So I think on the right, we've got the limestone. On the left, we've got the weathered ballast. And then if we go a bit further on, I've just been experimenting here with the different ballasts that Geoscenics use. And yeah, it looks really, really good. So yeah, just use the 50% water and PVA solution. Well, I did here, and then I started using Geoscenic's own glue that they supply. And incidentally, Mike, the proprietor, popping up on your screen now is just a little code you can use. If you buy anything from Geoscenics, you just get £1 off their ballast. But it is good stuff, and I'm going to be using it all over Heaton Lodge Junction Phase 2. So yeah, you can see this stuff here. I think this is the limestone. Again, it's very clean, but it contrasts really well with the weathered ballast on the right hand side. I'm just going to be using lots of different shades of this, just like you get on the real railway. So there we go. Let's nip back over onto the other side, and I'll show you. We'll talk about the scenery. But before I do, I just wanted to show you one thing that I've been using for the ballast, which might make you laugh. One sec. Now, some of you that do ballast quite a lot or are building a layout as we speak will be familiar with these little pipette kind of things, which you can use to drop whatever glue you're using, whether it be Geoscenics or whether it be the 50% PVA and normal water solution. But I found one of these on Amazon, which is huge. And it works much better because, honestly, these little pipettes, they run out after like 2 or 3 squeezes. This thing is actually for turkey basting, I believe. So it's for dropping oil onto turkey. So we're just about before you're about to put it in the oven. But I thought, well, this would be really good for ballasting. And indeed, it works really, really well. It's still got some in now, which is dropping out. But it works brilliantly. It floods the track with the type of glue you're using. And I think I paid, what did I pay? 10 or 11 quid for it. But it's a dream. It works really well. It carries loads and loads of whatever glue you're using again. And yeah, works really well. So if you're going to be ballasting, might be worth you picking one of those up on Amazon. So yeah, there we go. The ballast on this side is actually some ballast I used to have in a tub from DCC Concepts. It's their steam ballast, and I'm just going to be using the back end of this before I switch on to Geoscenic siding ballast, which looks, to be honest, the shade is very, very similar. I've not just used one shade of ballast here. I've varied it. I've put grey ballast in between, as you can see, because again, if you look at the real thing on any marshalling yard, there's just a massive variety of different ballasts or colours everywhere. And in fact, while we're talking about ballast, let's just nip onto the other side where these buildings are. I mentioned the other week, these buildings, I'm using the Bachmann Scenecraft buildings. And again, I don't really like using any off-the-shelf buildings because generally they're a bit poor and they take a lot of work to make look really good. So I'd rather get them built or build them myself. That said, these Bachmann ones are really, really good. I think it's because they're cast and they come with a bit of light weathering on as well. They're really relevant to a marshalling yard, and with a bit of weathering, which I've yet got to do, these are going to look really good. I might add a bit of detail too. These tanks are also by Bachmann Scenecraft, and they're by Made in Manchester Models, which I picked up at an exhibition a couple of years ago. Those tanks there, which will keep the diesel for the locomotives next to Healy Mill's shed. The mess hut is also by Bachmann Scenecraft, so there we go. And those lights, so the light in front of there, again, is just off eBay. You can pick these up. I think they come from China, but they're pretty good. So what else have we got? We've got the again the loud hailers that I mentioned earlier. I had about 50 of these printed off. You see these all over marshalling yards. We've got the point levers, which I had to get 3D printed because I couldn't really find any that looked quite good. I had 50 of those printed off. I think they worked out about £4 each, something like that, which I've just painted up. They're a bit brittle, and that's one thing I found about resin 3D printing. Anything that's quite thin is really brittle, so you've got to be really, really careful with. I mean, I've already rather broken a couple of these loud hailers, but there we go. The bridge is again a 3D printed item, which I modelled on Healy Mills shed. The real thing was at Healy Mills up until about 2004, and took the staff from the embankment right over the lines over to the main shed. And I've just had quite a few sections of these modelled and the stairs as well to kind of give that appearance or that feel of Healy Mills. So yeah, what else have we got? We've run a path, or I've run a path with some brown ground material or kind of earth powder, which runs from the coal unloading facility itself. It runs over some planks which have been under that locomotive, and then they run all the way to the bridge, and then the path goes all the way over the tracks down to the mess hut at the other side. So yeah, relay boxes are in. That's just about it. I just want to come on to and talk about the grass for a second as well. So we'll just move on to the grass in a couple of minutes. Right, let's talk grass for a couple of minutes. Now, most of you that watch these videos will have seen me doing the grass, the static grass that I've done all over phase one of Heaton Lodge Junction. I'm using the same colour combinations over on phase two. I get it in these big bags, would you believe, direct from Germany, from Mini Nature, and I just like these two shades. One of them is, this one actually is autumn fall or late fall, and this one here is just beige, and I just mix them together in a blender and then put them in a static grass applicator. I also use a lot of this stuff. We've talked about this before. This is the canopy. It comes under, you can get it from Green Scene, you can get it from Tremendous. Tremendous sell it as canopy, and I think Green Scene sell it as postiche. And it's brilliant. It's just basically doll's hair. It's brilliant at giving this sort of effect here. So you can just tease out the doll's hair, you can lay it on top of the grass that you've just laid, and then all you need to do then is use this stuff here. Any matte varnish, I use this Rust-Oleum Crystal Clear matte varnish. I spray it liberally all over the canopy like that, and then I sprinkle on this stuff here, which is Woodland Scenics Blended Turf, and it gives you this effect here. And I think it just looks really, really good. It just kind of gives a depth to the scenery, which you really need. It just, I don't know, it just lifts everything really. Now I've used on the other side ground up leaves, ground up dead leaves, and sprinkled the residue onto this canopy or postiche or doll's hair, whatever you want to call it, to give a kind of very winter effect. On this side, I'm also going to use that combination, but to be quite honest with you, this is kind of an autumn feel, so I just thought, and there's also evergreen plants and brambles and that sort of thing, so this is really to replicate those. So there we go. But I like the effect. I hope you do too. And if you want to achieve exactly the same thing, you just need to use these same products that I've done. And yeah, that's just about it. Don't forget the puddles as well. They are by AK Interactive. I used the puddle mixture you can get here. I think I got this from Scale Model Shop. And yeah, again, that works really well. You can see the puddles there. I need to refill these actually. I just put a bit in yesterday, but I'll just top them up. It's easy to make the puddles way too deep, but I've probably gone a bit far with these. They're more like swimming pools, to be honest, but I can make them less deep just by infilling them with some muddy ground cover or whatever. But yeah, I do hope you like the overall effect of the coal unloading facility. I'm now going to be starting on these two boards over there, and there's not going to be much elaborate scenery over on that side. It's just going to be ground cover, in fact, very much like this here. This actually is a mixture of ash from a wood burner, ash from a coal burner, and just the normal dark coloured or black ballast you get from either Geoscenics or from DCC Concepts, whatever. So I've just done a combination of different substances, sprinkled it onto PVA glue, and then just sprayed it with a combination of water and fairy liquid just to let everything sink in, and then obviously sprayed it over with the Geoscenics glue on top, and it's worked really well. So yeah, that is just about it for this week. I hope you like the progress report. I'm hoping to do another couple of boards by the next time I see you, but and we'll also have a how-to next time too. So there we go. So there we have it, folks. Yeah, that's 3 boards. That's 6, 12, 18 foot by 4 foot in a week. And it just shows what you can do if you put your mind to it and you have got the time, obviously, which fortunately I have at the minute. So hope you enjoyed that. Have a great weekend. We'll catch up next week and we'll have a bit more to talk about. See you then.